minha experiência de passado na área depois da invasão indonésia também Timor Leste 75 irá invadir a mim e ocupa a cidade de ocupa a minha vila sebenarnya cidade se não ocupa a minha cara lá para entender es ailaran bahana e momento na bane ani halai sabamos ani lalu buat tidak kalau saya ke kami tidak kenapa ani istilahnya memang kami hodi nunge halai bahailaran objektif kita atau continua a defender o direito democrático, direito à liberdade, direito à democracia, mesmo que motiva a mim para ailaran e tenta a mim ailaran não morrer de tudo saya dia makan natureza nebe koba amina moris ko itane iha ailaran neba unu ne hotu
Mau belefo tempo ituan ba Joao Soares tu traduz Joao
sí
en la mau dia traduz la ya
yeah. Obrigado, Barak, senhor. Well, Senor, Mr. I just call Mr. Ete Uku was explaining about the time when there was the Indonesian invasion in 1975. So all the Timorese people have to move, including Senor Ete Uku, Mr. Ete Uku. So we have to move to the mountain or to the jungles. So with the objective, like for all the clandestines to defend like our rights for independence. So in that time, we were living with what nature could provide to us. So they were struggling in that time. I think,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I hope that's all. Yeah, Mr. Uku can go ahead.
Mau, bele continua?
Sí. Tamba ani durante a minha tentativa da ailaran renovamos kami começa a reorganizar a fale kami começa a falar organizar grupo kami começa a notar então renovamos kami consegue a produção depois produção mesmo kami organizar organizamos grupos balão altos balão alnatar balão muito pelo que dele o benefício a mim pode a resistência durante e ailaran.
Obrigada, Mau. Joao, traduz?
Sim.
Well, during our stay in mountains or in the jungles, we try to reorganize back our life by focusing in farming, like agriculture, and then like for planting paddies to support like our resistance time in that period.
Mau bele continua?
Depois,
Yep.
e a tempo anual, então, como Indonésia, por tempo, em vez de ser ocupante de ailaran, e não é ser ela vila lá continuava pescando ailaran, então, e a período de ami e ailaran começou a organizar, então até que no balão altos, balão tal, e depois politicamente começou a o que se na o que contém central também começou a formação política, lo que se formou centro formação política nega no então começou a se formar quadros médios tira político de quadro médio tira quadro inferior ser como está tudo frequentava politicamente atu onsa perbele motiva na parte ani o espírito do combatente o de não é bele continuar resistir defende o direito de autodeterminação e independência né politicamente a mim começa vamos formação de começar a conta esta tem revista com ideia de kata dura e prolongado com esta nada kata esta conta punya bato então começar para uma fase guerrilla minha e nem como organizado então pronto emanbe haltos emanbe halmatar emanbe que kalau político continua mantém política e não deve halpun militar que vem halpun continua halpun ordinune maka kami durato bitina rono resenha punya lawannya ne resiste e to na verdade consegue kuana Agora que eu quero
Laya, ano hindi. Karig, Joao bele traduz, depois ita loke ba estudante sira o tu pergunta, ita halo discussão bele kalay.
sim, bela.
Joao.
Yeah. Yeah, I will try to translate that. Dear Kela, Senor Ete Uku. So during our struggle time, most of the cities in Timor Leste are occupied by the Indonesian, mainly like Indonesian army, but they cannot come to after most like people who run away to the mountains. And from that, like like all the fighters try to reorganize, like the political movement from through the our committed central of Fretilin. So the Fretilin is our we call like political movement party at that time who we established during that fight against Indonesian occupation, and then we in that time like we continue our fights for independence, and with the clandestine movement, like people try to continue to continue to focus in their fight against Indonesia, and then also at the same time, like people continue to stay alive by doing their like farming or agriculture to feed them in order to continue to resistance against Indonesia.
Thank you so
Sorry,
much.
I hope that's made clear for you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maun Ete Uku, italoke ba pergunta susi estudante sira bele kalay.
Bele.
Okay, we're gonna open now for the discussion. Do you have any comments, questions for Maun Ete Uku, considering all of the materials that you've been able to read about East Timor, Timor Leste, the Tarabandu, crocodiles, as family, kin, grandparents? Oh, yeah, there's a question from Julia. Yeah, pregunta ko si Julia. How many people were in the group that escaped? Maun Ete Uku, Julia, Jules, Husu, iya eman nainhira maka iya grupo maka halay salvaan at ailaran.
Ay, momento ni pag população de ser Timor ne alay hutu bailan taba ema mayo avião de saída ne hotan que de guerra rasa de mai de holi buat bobo cerne me dunia nan baut ailaran ema kas população toma baut ailaran.
Joao, do you want to translate that?
Yeah. So actually, in that time, most of the Timorese people, they were scared to the mountains or to the jungle, because in that time they were shooting, bombing, who make most people scared, and then they flee to mountains to just survive.
Yeah. Any more comments, questions? You can also just open and speak because it's easier. Then I don't have to multitask by opening chat. If you could just unmute yourself and speak directly, then Maun Ete Uku can also hear your voice. Andy, go ahead.
I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
About what was your daily life like? Like, what did you do when you woke up? And like, what did you do throughout the day?
That's an excellent question. I also had the same question before when I was thinking about them while I was here in California. Joao, bele traduz?
Sim, yes, sure. Senhor Ete, ia pergunta se o estudante quando vai onde a população nia mois lolorong ia tempo no ba sarang se halau isinya be moris be rutina lolorong ia durante ailaran. Cari senhor bela resposta.
Sì. Vabbè, teniamo ogni altra nella a me momento como o de força a maior tamanho da bailando to ba começa a organizar começa a organizar um grupo de balão alto né alto balão uma aberto ela né de toba e primeiro batida pom toba né ita sada né be lor né de sada Kui kailaran niya henbe ke nwa bana ka kumbili ka ka sari na sirabe sai sin bailaran no sirabe sai dan ba yad patin be nbe patin nbe ka mi hanan de sustente dan ho di no organiza mal to osalna ta di ho di para belle sustenta fal dene.
Obrigado, Senhor Ete. So, Mr. Ete was mentioned that mainly during our struggle time, like we mostly try to reorganize like our life, mostly in our daily routine. We focus just to doing farming, like we created groups. So in that time, we try to like planting like local foods like cassava, sweet potatoes, etc., just to support us in survive. And also like in the same time, we be like a temporary shelter for us. So that's like our daily routine during that period. Hopefully that makes sense.
Does that answer your question, Andy? I have a question. Maun Ete Uku, Auya pergunta.
Sim.
Didn't you have time to grieve everyone who was shot and killed? Ita la 40 tempo at utani sa masira maka sira oho ona when hira sira tama. I mean, you seem to have become very well organized and like surviving and like doing your best, but there was a genocide. Ita fo tempo ba itaniana tu tanis kalay atulutu katamba ya genocida.
Quando olha quando eu fono né batutu ita ne hanoi ne ba palm summer perhaps de atau alcança ita ne objetivo ne tarka uko ane neve momento quando fono lara ita bele hanoi me be buat ida ne de kata kane konsekuensi fono ne makane ne dumi testing imu realidade jen tamuluka ambiang kata mate ga moris uko rasika ne dumi tenge balung teng mate balung moris continua fono tarka uko an ne lema ita be fono ne makane.
Joao, can you please kindly translate for the students?
Yeah, for sure. So Mr. Ete was explained that during the struggle time, like we cannot even try to grieve because of like some of our family died, because like in that time, like most of us, like we have like a motto in our fight, like we always believe that even though we have to die, like we will still fight until we get our independence. So we like in our like mindset or mentally, we already prepare for like the worst things to continue fight. Like we keep aside our feeling of like loss or things like that, so we can continue to fight for our independence.
Obrigada, Joao. Ia pergunta ho si Alison Mau. Estudiante ida naran Alison husu. Ita se halo tos kalay, se halo natar. Ita se kuda ka unsa. I just ask you a question, Alison. Are you still continuing with farming and yeah? So agora, ita se like agora dadao.
Agora ne ane sabe profissão de Timor Leste ito osnatar ne sempre ia uma agora dili mala mas ia pohone sempre ia na fatin.
Joao, pele traduz?
Yeah. So like mostly for our family that live in the rural areas, like we still continue do farming or agriculture, but like for us who live already in the city, like in our capital of country Delhi, mostly we are not doing farming, only like for our family who live in the countryside or in the mountains.
Mateo, your hand is raised. It would be great if you could just ask the question because I'm not able to.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just curious, what was it that allowed you to have such a strong drive and such continuous values throughout your experience and always believing that independence was above even the safety of your life and your friends and your family.
Joao, ele traduz ka lai?
Sim, sim. Sim, senhor Ete Uku, eu não vai perguntar se estudante quando vai sana makanesa motiva teves ita, mas que ia ter o sustanelar, mas vai cara continua na vating hori be esforço toma hori bele luta, a soro be invasão hori bele nisang ia valor hori bele be atingi tenia be meta within mihi by independência.
Ikana motivação, itam gadian hakar uku o muito ko o Portugal be colonialismo português tin atrefin depois de tato com a Indonésia amatão agora também né modern kata kita agora né ansa saturado hobe colonialisasi itu akar atau hinsa per itu bela hetang pura seka ida ne memotiva itu kan kata agora ini lemane itu mate ka moris pura seka makan deh ne itu mate ona moris ne continua alfum até que hetang pura seka ida ne bene motivação ida ne deh.
Okay, obrigado, senhor Ete. So, this Ete Uku was explaining about because of like we have been colonized by Portuguese for more than 100 years, and then now Indonesian came and invaded us. So we were like really eager to fight for our independence because we felt like really, living in the struggle time, and we not feel satisfied by those occupation, colonization. So we're thinking like for our life and for our future generation, we need to continue fight for our vision to reach our goal of independence. So even though all of us have to die, we will continue to fight in that time.
Obrigada, Barak. Joao. Any more questions,
Yeah, I
comments?
hope that's clear
Conrad.
for you, Mateo.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you for all the questions. Conrad, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I was wondering, how does like the increase of technology and like global interconnectedness with social media impact the continuation of like the cultural traditions in Timor Leste?
Joao, ele ajuda a traduz?
Sorry, Conrad. It was quite fast. Can you repeat? Sorry.
Conrad, can you repeat your question?
Yeah,
It was quite fast. Sorry.
yeah. So like, how does the increased interconnectedness of the world, like through social media, other forms of the internet, how does it affect the continuation of cultural traditions, like farming and like other ways of sustenance, and like in Timor Leste?
Sim, senhor Ete, e a pergunta seria uso quando o ensino agora desenvolvimento mundo global e a área social media halo e conexão entre Timor e o mundo. O ensino não foi afetado by tinha prática tradicional ou tinha continuação da vida moris aí culturnya e Timor Leste não insa para que a mudança na isso.
Atau moris apa be? Kunsa haladu
Oh, Karik, niya pergunta ko
haladu
na
lama
impacto teknologiya nasa social
Sim.
media. Ahora Facebook impacto bot kan? Ito na impacto ba ita niya vida lorloron alutos natar unsa?
taman toh makarne teknologi ne ketinggi Israel Timor ne kondisimu kita ani muri ke Timor ne antege Timor realidade enve ke Timor iya kala labele muri estamos nação avançado tecnologia avançada nela. Muri estou botando bem que Timor ia.
Joao, do you want to translate?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like for most of Timor, it's like we can say like at the moment, like we still are living mostly mostly focusing, like especially for our livelihood. Most of our people, like they focus on agriculture or doing farming, and then like we still like living like not really advanced. Like we cannot really like make ourselves to be like a developed country, or that the country that's already advanced in the technology, like in social media, things like that. But we need to really like understand our context at the moment, and like still, like living based on our roots, like where we mostly like still focus to support our livelihood by doing farming or in agriculture, things like that. So it's something like still important for us.
Obrigada, Bara. Joao. Pergunta Stan, do you have any questions? Must have a lot of questions about what it's like to be a guerrilla, war veteran, to live in the jungles, wilderness. Does anyone want to unmute themselves?
Yeah, sure. I have a couple of other questions if no one else has one.
Okay.
I was first of all curious. So was all of the food that they ate, was it from farming, or did they also like hunt animals or anything like that? And then also, how does speaking Portuguese, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like in some way you still have been like colonized by the language you speak, and it kind of has erased some of the culture, or do you feel like you've embraced it and it's just part of your culture now?
Joao,
Sim, senhor, ena pergunta sila quando ba unsama gwe Sara unsama gwe liga ba quando ba prática agricultura e tempo no ba ansam cargia alomos ansam caça animais negala. Agora da Dalkmos, cara que se continua na fatinda negra lá, e depois o insama que tem língua rásica, e cara que agora da kita usa na fatinda língua portuguesa. Apakah ini sambil hamus na fan sentimento kata ita se ocupa o si português ira ka ita ko hanu indane dia tam ita ko ka tu bele hakuak buat hirak ne anzan mas que ita continua a língua portuguesa, mas ita sentença ne bela una parte en sí tiene cultura.
Ini tambah ita ni língua português ne língua ikan be que anessa apoio baratiuba e a resistência tambah ia tempo ainda a cara ela kita tem que usar maka língua português tambah tetu ne taruh kaba lir ya babe informações de rumah rumah ikat be surat rumah baraglir tetu labele ne tetu ne anessa mobati de telecomunicação local minha. Então, a cara surat rumah, a relator rumah, atau saya lir, atau kerek mundo internacional, um momento ne língua português importante, kulikannya ajuda, posai buat tidak berjual akan direito humano, ou qualquer ikannya resistência ne alsa ia adalah ia ikannya língua sih. de comunicação e de usação de língua portuguesa, mas ajuda para baixo ou na batalha do mundo internacional para a atenção do telefone, né?
Entonces, así como va de,
Português é importante.
sí, sí. Entonces, cuando va en esa guía de cultura, así como introducimos, practicamos esa bacasa, animal ficción, nosotros selain de esa agricultura, esa cura altos.
Maka agrikultura,
Esa selain agricultura,
Yes, animal quick and as an rusa ka sira hata karakatene. Itahan date modo ka itamus buka. Yeah, and it's an rusa. Yeah.
Estamos en tiempo esa selain halo agricultura, cura altos, natane, estamos esa bacasa animal quick lain, esa rusa 5 feet, what's the name? Que cada tua tiene.
rusa. Hal to salah karena answer rusa.
Casamos animal quick lain. Casa.
Animal quick.
Sira husu itamus hanan kalay. Nan rusa. Ini ailaran han modo deka ini mos hanan as nan rusa nan animal quick.
Ingaw kami na ba? Na rusa, na fui, na manu fui, manu pombo fui, kirame, depende buat inawe kita ta o manu de hakiak manu. Ena bande organizat balong hakiak manu, balong hakiak pai, balong hakiak be bibi, balong ne kon amon be ane se liwan tina idane ne be more side serne ami sempre hepan agora mesmo dia ita qualia conaba mercado ulu kenabane ami qualia conaba dia pramuta ne dia kata por exemplo dia fati na be ka halu batari ya amle fal batarne batro ka kafe ane de project ya hermera ya same ya side serne और बाजारों ने लोर सामने apa ini ya belur pale ini be matro pale be soga ya emada alma tarkirane ne ulik ni kore kon muta be kamal be ne be buat serne ya lah.
Capaz de João acaba de traduzir?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So during their stay or live in the mountains, like most of them, like they are not only doing farming or focusing on agriculture, but they also like raise pigs or chickens. And then, they also like do hunting, especially for like deers or wild pigs and etc. And then like they also like do like a barter or exchange for like their local stuff, like for coffee and rice or with maize or things like that. And then like especially in the Indonesian occupation, like for the Portuguese language, like mainly the fighters or the clandestine force, they like they were mainly use Portuguese as a language to communicate with the international countries. I mean, like with the foreign countries, just to looking for support and also to inform, like for the people in other countries like we are now struggling, and there are like human rights violence in Timor Leste. So we really need your support or help. And in that time also, like some people like from the clandestine, they flee to like other countries, like to looking for support. And then we called them like as diplomats at that time who support from for overseas. So that's why like from Tetun itself, like it's our local language. So it's not really helpful for us to use Tetun to communicate to for looking international support, but Portuguese mainly like really help them to communicate and to ask for help or support from the international aid, or for like asking for to pay attention for the human violence that being like discriminated in Timor Leste. Yeah, I think that's all.
Thank you so much, Joao.
Tabelane tatanga.
Oh, Bele,
Tabelane
Bele,
tatanga.
Bele aumenta, Bele aumenta. He wants to add some more. Yes,
Ah,
yeah.
depois chansane. Ami ya ulu kailarane de present bahane sabe. Modo la falta hasa boy moso ya be sede motalarane bara tuna nemos ambacar bah. E depois quando torna batar yana a mim tem a ligação ba sira be dilalara tem família balon que ela é dilalara né a mim loriba fotira sira vou ba troca fale roupa anessa roupa sira be hatai que nem é lipada a bija a para serna ba troca serna ato ina ida anessa me começa a mim roupa moçoiana e superviga saída termos a começava e a ligação de saída para família cerca balão que bilalara né nebe né começa moris né saída precisa balora né né atende na mas não se quer né mamen padam.
Obrigada, Mau. Joao,
Yeah.
to translate? Are you tired?
Yes.
Or you
No,
wanna...
it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mr. Oku was explained that I heard more that during the time in the mountains, like for food themselves, like they are not feel like the lack of food because they do farming, and then like they also like can go to the rivers to like get like trains and things like that, and then they sometimes like they go to the city, like to some of their family that live there, just to bring some of their local foods, and then to ask for exchange, like for them to have some nice clothes for them to wear, and also like for some foods from groceries, like for noodles and things like that for them to eat, not only just from their farms, but they can also have some food from like the cities. Yeah.
Obrigada, Barak, Joao. Andy, you had a question. Andy?
I had a question about if like the life now that you have feels more normal now, like does your life feel normal now?
So Andy,
Joao,
yeah, Senhor, pensamos quando vai ter amores compara uluk no agora né, isso é cinta agora né, normal né, compara nesse mundo.
Para ulu como agora
Sim.
Sim? Ah, yeah. Hindi normal na agora lá nisso sempre susah.
So, uli ko agora nila.
Sí, sí.
Compartilhar agora, sim.
Para sa uli ko agora, uli ko na. Ang uli ko na puno. Ailaran dito agora kaya kita doon na buat muri sini lah sa ailaran ho be dilalaran ni kan lah sa megala. Ini diferente makanya di ailaran o buat coba deh ya ada sede ne ya di be sede de víctima kabe ay tahan be cuma tu ayabut di ikam coba maigane agora ya kita ni coba usang kama sede sede diferente makanya kira muri mo to aneta
So, Mr. Ete explained that, yeah, the life has significantly changed compared like now and before, because yeah, obviously during the struggle time where they in the mountains, like mostly they like for example they can just sleep everywhere, like just like lay down leaves or anything that they can find and then sleep or lay down there, and then there is no like any place to make you feel comfy. But now indeed it's that we are living in the city now, like so now we can say we can get all the things that will make us feeling comfortable living in our house, like to sleep in a good a house or in a good bed. So it's really see different compared between like a living in our in our time in mountains and compared to now living in the city.
Any other questions, comments? Conrad.
Yeah. Were there any like specific guerrilla movements or other like revolutions that you took inspiration from when you were fighting against the occupations?
Wow, do you want
Sorry, Conrad, you mean revolution from like somewhere like other countries?
Yeah, like I took inspiration from the Viet Cong fight against the Americans, or like the Afghans against the USSR. If there's any sort of other inspiration that they look to.
Thank you. Sim, senhor, Ian vai pergunta se quando vai tinha revolução era assim durante período ocupação indonesiana. Kali kita inspiração rumah nessa tempo no bane quando kali kita hetang referência inspiração rumah usi nação selo no tempo no bane somos halofun contra a invasão usi nação selo nessa América no a nação selo no bem kali sinamos funu ela sobre invasão do nível hetang kali que é inspiração rumah. Il signore in base all'uso cari il tempo funune cari così nabat ya ita heta inspiração Roma così nessa nação selo que nós halo funu ela contra a invasão se nação selo então ita nessa puta inspiração a referência nos naba abane então sakara ya visão de bele halo revolução contra a Indonésia por bele tangkungan.
Sudah nasan selu pak.
inspiration?
Ita ya harus futi nulitin referensia ka o ita ni inspiração si nação baru memang tempo nós fun hela ba invasão.
Italian Timor Leste. Até ali tem nação gambe makazu daita. E momento é na bane é makazu daita até topi Indonesia maka azu daita. Nia makba be sedene ba de kilat musa kirane karena ada terne ya nação selu kuluri me ita para de lori me ba ena vamos que estamos tem confiança que na capacidade o intraprik belba ba forte a Indonesia para depois escolher firme kilat não se tem nem que firmar fale ita confia mas que já de que confia ita confia ita princípio e o intraprik bele Indonesia ba saya deve sampai masa masih ada pokok kilat minta lori me kita mal betir mal Indonesia.
Lepas Indonesia ni asa usi forsa sira asa usi Palestina koka tu hadau futi kila arma sira usi Indonesia sira beri bere contra fale milite Indonesia sila sala.
Sí. Tambah itu
Sí.
Itane laya mai da azu da ita. Nei na saung ita anwe ke azu da ita. Mai be moment ne pertuge sirang usikela de tres o mover hermed. Moment kon saida. Buat ne kon tirmal saida atau kita como se tiene ida ruas tolik amana preparação de amana fazer guerrilla onane né itaba tem que oni sapara itabele babe sedane Indonesia sira be chirna postu be avançar sira be ya basic be sedane ailaran sedane agar buka pam sapa belo on itaba asal sabe postu vigilance segment para hada kila tara kilat muka hotune tabele car que la fale de continuar de halfun itene
So Mr. Uku was explained like during our fight against Indonesia, like mostly like there was any country that helping or support us that time. Like we mostly like could not have any contact to outside, and then like we tried to just continue to fight because like when the Portuguese colonization, like when they left, they like there were some arms that they left in the country that the force like the clandestine were force like they took those arms, and then also they tried to assault some of the like Indonesian military force in some location that they could assault them and then take their armies. And in that time they try hard to attack the Indonesian armies just to take their arms or like their guns or their bombs just to fight back the Indonesian armies. And it was like they didn't have any support really from outside. So mostly they just fight just to ensure that they continue to fight, and then they hope like they can get any support from outside. But mostly like they fight their own, and then just to try to survive in that time.
Does that answer your
Aquel
question?
da panga
Sí, bele.
depois quando Irene começa a sair uma correção humana betinha Cuando comienza reorganiza una frente clandestina comienza a ailaran y otros, tapi ini comienza a frente clandestina fue apoyo marcado, comienza a legalización, nema cabe cuando tira Indonesia tira o batalhão sabe buka valente tira ailaran, então valente tira ama fale hati lalaran hamutu ko frente clandestina tira nina uma. Depois quando Indonesia possa ser semi quando tu fila fale aí tem guerrilheiros tira sa fale bailaran para continuar a resistir até né quando to frente classe organizada tem a mesma e depois frente clandestina mas começa balão funcionário balão militar tentar balão polícia. Então, começa a de material de guerra, de cartuchos, ou armas, aí começa a itu anak harus bailaran continua halipun. Itu maka aneh maka itu ni funune registro itu bela buat tidak layak mereka oh itu ni de kapasitas de formação de fununian ita começa a extensão da frente nema que renovane uli que tem frente armada frente clandestina frente externa botou no com serviço ona lotana então que nema que não consegue inglês mas pouco lá de acon e está consegue do o ano.
Wow. Yeah, Joao, that's amazing, actually. Go ahead.
You said it was explained like during the fight like between the clandestine force, like they try to like somehow make a strategy on how like the clandestine the force like to have connection like inside the Indonesian government, especially like to place like some of their people inside the Indonesian like military or like in police as police officer or in the like as government staff or I don't know how to call that, like mostly like they from that they try to support back the clandestine force in the mountain by try to like we can call like stealing like armies like guns or bombs or anything that they can find to support the clandestine force in mountains, and then like that was really helped them in fighting back the Indonesian army. And then also we have like a three main like of force how to call that, like we have like base like that support us where we call like the clandestine force, and then there are how to call that, the external like support like from the people like from the clandestine people who flee to outside to support us from overseas, and then they also like how to call that, sorry, like I don't know how to call that specifically in English, but like that's for people who like support us in the CP to like that what like I mentioned about the who for those who already involved in the government, like in the military, Indonesian military or police, to support back the clandestine force in the mountains. Sorry if that not really makes sense from what I translate or explain.
Does that answer your question, Conrad? Thank you so much, Joao.
I have a question.
Tara, yes, what's your question?
How are you, how's your happiness level? Are you able to find some and hope? And are you getting any support in mental health?
It's a brilliant question. Thank you. Joao, traduzca.
Sim. Senhor Ete, eu pergunto se dá quando vai essa ia a tempo agora itu beliau sama kan saya tanya sentimento misalnya bagaimana kita liona ya tempo invasão né então fundo ailaran kali kan sang ia malu tuman bem então precisa suportar nisan ba parte mentalnya nisan kali que musuh nisan problema dificuldade mengira be fundo mata.
How Bele explica, Joao? How Bele mos aumenta?
Sim, sim, sim.
Mau,
Yeah.
Mau, pergunta ne interessante debes, hamos sagara kusu. Agora funo hoto ona. Ita contente galay, ita hetan suporta nesan ba suporta mental galay. Hamos husu idanetan ba how hela clear ho ema leader clandestina ida? I'm saying, I'm asking this question as well because I lived for a long time with actually one of the people who led the clandestine movement. And yeah, stress bot tomate. Tamba nunca hetan apoyo desde sayo si ipinang depois tama langsung queda sa nasan mau hatene tama langsung queda sa tu ahu partido depois tama ba hari nasao e nunca para afinal mate lalay siyan tinan mo na Tara niya pergunta ita contente kalay ita hetan apoyo ko na ba problemas barak makamos durante funune. Sorry, Tara, I added some more questions because he didn't understand at first.
Okay. In principio, how contente tam saída me alcança por africana e tan ne honra botida kata se la consegue ne amini ansa ada ida de matene tiradiana saidane reacionário andolo arme reacionário traidor mas como o Kuauna cantando talmente dia né bolo veterano ida de matene dia bolo na herói ida né nessa batida de honra botida saída mata bukan saída na realidade segundo agora interesse nacional agora interesse do indivíduo moris indivíduo é uma ideia que né agora o quane né comunicação nação fom desafio para como assim moço e começar o seu de zero e desafio ser moço também agora né estamos na beira para fazer fom começar a buat fom jadi quando buat fom né lá fácil antes ita fila lima né mas ita né nessa desafio que agora desafio fom que o interprete buka enfrenta de situação ainda né atau bom né responsabilidade Timor Leste Then
Oh, todan. Joao, hakarak traduz.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Well, Mr. Uku mentioned like, well, from the our common objective, like most of us, like we are happy, like for us to achieve our independence, like in like now we can, like live, in our country, like in this democratic country. And then this is like our goal, like from us now become veterans and our heroes who died during the fight. Like these all our intention, our goal to achieve our independence. Individually, yeah, we understand like maybe most of or some of us still like struggle like in terms of our mental, like some of us might not really could um, overcome the trauma or tragedy that happened during the fight. Like we can understand that because now we are already in this time, like we have to think about our future, but still we struggle in during this independence when we have to build our country. And then like there are many things like not only like for individually us, like we have to like asking, like even if we some of us have like mental struggle or mental illness because of the war. But this is like something now we like for our country, like we have to think about for our uh, development, how like we can see for the responsibility from us to continue to contribute the support for the development of this country. But still, like now, we cannot still, like um, you know, I mean, for our people who have a problem with their mental health issue, like they cannot or we cannot like help. For our government, especially not really somehow like focus on this to providing like help or significant help or support, So yeah.
Obrigada, Joao. I think we have time for 2 more questions and then we have to close because Maun Ete Uku's time now is past 1 a.m. So we'll take 2 more questions, comments. Anyone? If you could just unmute yourself and start speaking so I don't have to open chat. Are there any more questions or comments? Oh, wait, can I ask a question then? If you don't have any more questions from the students? Mau, hawakarak husu pergunta bele kalay.
Sí, vele.
Tamba, lahi ona pergunta husi estudante sira. How niya pergunta maka, how saita maka Ukraine no West Papua bele aprende husi itaniya revolução, itaniya luta. So I asked him, what can Ukraine and West Papua learn from their revolution and the Timorese struggle?
That's a great question.
Ano ba? Ano ba? The West Papua ka?
No, Ukraine. Ukraine no West Papua. Sira na yung rua.
Vele. Agora, buat ini ke organizaciones han efectivo y a niña forma organizata ne belle sedene. Agora, Papua, agora depende da Sirabe. de ser popo no sione un sapra si bele se da tira am unu ya dois mil de duari mune how ya tira visto tira lea me tanto problema popo ne pir gaune are ne la anesa hoy que Timor tamba enaba ide uno defende que ne área que la osbe que agora Timor la anesa Timor no uno y digamos enaba línea de comunicación línea de lengua de bahasa ne la anesa y digamos la hija líder en vez que quiera otro confiar confiar. Eso me gira, por y tenemos problema voto de pega. Muy bien. Ne tiri da ne pena ma ja siramos ya sirania ya tedene ya ni se me formas en fatra sira tuve luta para ser na ucundateca e a ser na razão própria e sai de ser mais bem qual é o ativista sira Papua ya Melbourne ba qual é o sira onde tenemos que ver difícil conseguir ya la hija de lengua de base de comunicação mal y después la hija de ini hakar upam de ahora mi idea de con ya niña área niña región niña y tiene ese problema después si la representante de uno idea con niña representante se nunca se ya maidan saya Timor Leste ya comando de luta y de todo tenderona sanana también de entonces pronto y tenemos sira hawarene sira nueva ahí no decir que te veía forma se y talatene abaita está dando de sira nueva de saida maxirania de paterna objetivo que nada más de que ya nemos au hace canciones más o menos si ya ne
Obrigada, Mao. Joao, would you like to translate or do you want me to translate or go ahead?
Well, I could translate, Professor Jay. Well, from Mr. Uku, actually, he doesn't really know, like, from West Papua or for Ukraine. Like, he had chance to speak with some of the Papua activists in Melbourne, and then in that time, like they share many things to Mr. Uku about the fight or the struggle, and then they want to have the independence. But he tried to share them with our fight, like in Timor, how we really have a good or big leader like Mr. Kairala Sanana Gusma of that time, who really have a charisma to be a great leader and lead us to fight against the Indonesian occupation. And then we are really united that time to focus, and then we have same communication, and we trust each other, and then we have our unique form of clandestine or resistance to build our strategy or on how we could fight against the Indonesian army. And then we really believe in our leaders, like Sanana Guzman, and he was really leading us. And then he was not really explaining about the Ukraine, but mostly about West Papua. So, but he doesn't really know how like Papua or West Papua or Ukraine, like the way they build their strategy or how they fight to get their independence or to against the occupation. Yeah, Professor
Thank you
Jay,
so
you
much,
can
Joao.
add more.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joao. Maun Ete Uku. Joao. Aware kalam bot ona, ami contente te teves vele kolya huita. Au personalmente agradece bot tamba itabele anorinami, ami bele aprende buat parak. Takliro na lahasa rumalo, mas au contente te teves vele diga mau. Wow, obrigada. Ano ni ita mo sa karakter ba na basic to kuida. I'm just thanking him for everything. Agora to kuida. Mau.
Tukuida o balo na.
To
Tukuida
kuida.
wa-
Okay, it's 1:30 there. So, Joao, thank you so much for gracing our class and for translating. And Maun Ete Uku, on behalf of our class, on behalf of the students, kara kato amin ini apresiação no agradecimento bot. Agora ami record to haru ka recording ba ita hodinune estudantes siramos sanesan ia UNTL unpas belerona itania liafuan.
Dia obrigado barak bah.
Tama kalandiak. Yeah, kalandiak.
Obrigado barak.
Ate logo itahas sorumalo ia Timor Fali bulan Agosto. Ato ba ni ba?
Okay. Sama kita bem-vindo. Obrigado barak. Cumprimento. Cumprimento outro.
See, he said he's giving you his warmest regards. Thank you so much for listening and for being part of this discussion and for the questions and everything.
Thank you so much.
Obrigado mil
Obrigado,
veces.
Barak. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah. Sentimento de condolência nos va professora Zoe na família.
Sí, Joao, obrigada Barbara. Kalandia.
Yeah. Yeah, espera para ver as
Obrigado, Mano João. O terceiro cumprimento vem até amanhã.
Sim, Kalandiak, Senhora Ete, Kalandiak.
Barbara Kalandia. Até amanhã.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much. See you again next week.
Thank you. Bye.